order. All rise and salute the flag. I pledge allegiance
To the flag.
The flag
United
United
States of
States
America.
of America,
of
to the republic,
to the
Which
republic
stands
for which it stands,
one nation,
under
nation,
God,
God,
indivisible, with
indivisible,
liberty and justice for all.
for all.
Please remain standing for a moment of silence in honor of our veterans, servicemen and women, and those who have given the ultimate sacrifice. You may be seated.
Councilor Sika,
Yes.
Council Condon,
Yes,
do you want to do a moment of silence for Mr. Palermo?
yeah,
Okay,
Yeah.
Council Condon, you have the floor.
thank you, Craig.
Yeah.
Recently, we lost really one of the pillars of our community in Edgeworth. He exemplified what family is all about. Lived on Pearl Street for over 50, 60 years. Former Middlesex County High Executive Officer. So at this time, I'd like to offer a moment of silence to a dear friend of many, Jim Palermo, Vincent James Palermo, who lives at 293 Pearl Street, a man that was truly loved in our Edgeworth neighborhood. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilor Anderson, before we sit down, do you have your hand up as well?
I do,
Okay.
and
You
I
have
would like to
another
offer
moment?
a moment of silence in honor of Mary Dolores Twyman. Dee Twyman, as many of us knew her by, passed away just last week. She was buried yesterday. Some of you may have remembered seeing this 92-year-old woman who volunteered down at the teen center. She was very active in Ward 7 activities. A widow of about 15 years who, when she would go out dancing with her younger girlfriends and we'd go to a club, she was such an engaging and wonderfully approachable person that her younger girlfriends would get jealous because all the guys were going up and wanting to dance with her. And so Dee Twyman was a wonderful, wonderful role model for many of us to follow, a true Christian woman, and we will miss her very much. And again, I offer our condolences to the family and a moment of silence on her behalf. Thank you.
Thank you. You may
Thank
be
you.
seated. Under the provisions of the open meeting law, for those of you in attendance, please be aware that Malden Access Television and John Mayara, a resident of ours, will be recording this evening's meeting. Again, there will be audio and video recording of this evening's meeting. First order of business.
Roll call. Anderson,
Anderson here.
Kamel,
Now here.
Condon,
Condon here.
Crow,
Here.
Di Maria,
Di Maria here.
Linehan,
Linehan here.
Murphy,
Murphy here.
O'Malley,
Here.
Spatafora,
Got a 4 here.
Winslow,
Winslow here.
Sika,
Sika here.
all present.
First order of business.
Paper 132-20, order annual appropriation order for the fiscal year 2021 city budget.
Councilor Kamel for the committee.
Thank you, Council President Sika. So I'll keep this pretty short. The Finance Committee was well attended by all the councilors. We'll give a bit of an introduction. Every year, it's a big responsibility to do this budget. This year was unique in the way that COVID is impacting revenue, especially at the state level. This is going to fundamentally impact our state aid, and we know that it will lead to the need for us to discuss this in the fall after the state budget is finalized. Well, what the mayor and his team did was to build in a $4.16 million hold on our spending. What's been called a budget contingency. That's essentially a down payment on cuts that may be necessary. This in turn has led to a level funded budget for most departments. Of course, there's a big difference between level funded and level service, but the loss of service has been pretty minimized. All the department heads have really epitomized the team player ethos. They're really leaning in and doing what they can with their budgets the way that they are. And the committee were pretty blunt and straightforward that while that's appreciated, we might be having a more difficult conversation in the fall after more is known regarding what more can they give up. But for now, we've held the line at the budget the way it is. We had some motions discussing potential cuts, but ultimately we didn't vote to adopt those as a committee. And we did vote out to approve the budget with a 5-1 final motion. And as they have several times during the committee meetings, we're again joined here tonight by Chuck Rannigan and Ron Hogan, who can answer more questions from the point of view of the mayor and his team. And with that, I'll make the motion to adopt the budget. We'll hope for a second, and of course we can have
Second.
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 Okay.
Not running the meeting.
On Councilor Kamel's motion, anybody have, oh, sorry, Councilor O'Malley.
Thank you, Madam President. Yeah, I know we said this, and I've said this at the last two finance meetings. I'm a little uncomfortable to approve a budget that has cuts to the school department in the form of layoffs and a number of unfilled positions, while we still have upwards of $750,000 in overtime. I hope that obviously the budget has support, so there's no opportunity to really affect that. But I hope that the department heads who are managing these departments with those overtime budgets do so in a respectful and appropriate way in case we do end up having to really cut to the bone once we find out what our state aid is. The more money we can save now, the more jobs that we can save and the more services that we can provide. So I just wanted to say that because I think it's important. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilor Winslow.
Yeah, I am supportive of moving ahead. I mean, this is sort of a 2-month budget. I mean, we're at the mercy of COVID-19 in a way, and that is going to shift, our priorities literally on a very short-term basis. So I am supportive. Again, as I said in committee, I know there's a lot of comments we've been getting about police funding, and I've looked at a national report on police funding. We're sort of in the middle of how we fund our police per capita, and our police department is very progressive in terms of its policies, and we're going to take a deeper look at that. I think that we can, over the next few months through the mayor's initiative, look at what and do sort of a more in-depth dive with the police department. I do think personally, and I think there's support from other counselors, that there's a shift in other communities away from traffic enforcement to policies about transportation that focus on safer streets. And I think that's one of the things we should ask the mayor to look at, is looking at creating a transportation department that shifts the traffic department responsibilities for crossing guards and oversight of the traffic commission to a transportation department overseen by, a director of transportation parking. So, I mean, I think that's one of the things we were working on before COVID-19 and other defunding police things. I think it's something we should continue to work towards. So that's just my comment, but I am supportive of the budget. And, it'll be an ongoing thing throughout the year. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilor Spatafor.
Thank you, Madam President. First, before I always forget, I want to thank Chairperson, Council Kamel, for leading the finance charge along with the mayor's team, Mr. Hogan, Mr. Ranigan, and even Mr. Gover, in terms of presenting a budget that I think we all agree is certainly not one we want to pass. But I think this council understands it's more of a little a timeout rather, and wait to see what the final numbers look for the state. So I think given this unique challenge of working remotely and putting together this budget virtually, it was hats off to that team in leading this during this unusual time. What I will say is I think every council up here realizes that hopefully this is going to get better, but probably realistically, given reading the paper today and looking on State House News, you're starting to see the word 9C cuts. And those who don't realize what that is the legislative number for the governor to start doing mid-cycle cuts. And I think we are certainly in a better position thanks to the team and the finance chair, because we didn't have a massive cuts. I think other communities, I think there's upwards of 2,500 teachers throughout the state out of a job right now. And certainly we listen, every department wants more funding. But I think the other side of the coin is every department, not just the police, if there are next cuts, are going to have to all live with this, including, the mayor's office and us, the police, the fire, DPW, everybody's going to have to live with the cuts when we go forward. But hopefully, fingers crossed, the economy gets a little better. It certainly doesn't seem that way. But for me, I'm confident in voting for the next 60 days, coming back, looking at some realistic numbers. And then if we need to cut, I think it's going to be across the board. And then make those decisions that I think everybody up here certainly dreads and does not want to see happen. But again, I think this team's done an excellent job. And if you don't have to look too far to the left and the right, unlike other times, we are the richer communities are not in a better position than us, but Malden seems to be in a pretty good position with level funding. And that is certainly good planning by the finance team and Mr. Hogan and the controller and the treasurer and the mayor's office. So that should not go unnoticed. And let's wait to see what happens in September. I support the budget and look forward to September. Thank you, Madam President.
Thank you, Councilor Spatafor. Councilor Anderson.
Thank you, Madam President. I also am supportive of passing this budget this evening. We know it's only for a couple of months. We know we're flying blind without really having a firm picture on a firm handle on what the picture is going to be like getting aid from the state and such. I'll mention, as I did in the last finance committee, regarding the question around the police and funding of police. I think our police department does a very good job. I think we need all that we have right there. I think we need to take seriously some policy looks at the police department and see where there are things that we can remove from the police department that will take them out of the potential of conflict with people. We don't use the example. We've all seen the example of the traffic department, for example, the trafficking. Our cops didn't need to be doing ticketing of cars. Give that to somebody else. Let's free up the police to do other kind of things. We don't need to have police officers, chasing people off of the basketball courts, or off the tennis courts and so forth, that cause the potential of a conflict between the person who shows up with a badge and the gun and a person in the community. I think we need to be looking at all of these kind of things that can lessen the potential of catastrophic things that can happen and have happened throughout other parts of the country. We've been fortunate here in Malden that we haven't had that kind of police, black people killing here in Malden. Doesn't say that it couldn't happen, but we need to make sure that we do all that we can to make sure that the police officers are able to do the job without unnecessary conflict that can rise to other things. So I'm going to support this budget. We know we're going to look more closely at it in a couple of months, and at the same time, we can be looking at things that we can be shifting away from, duties we can be shifting away from the police department. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilor DiMaria.
Thank you, Madam President. And I first want to start by saying thank you to the to the finance administration, the mayor, for initially shaving over $4 million out of our budget before it came to us. So I think that's absolutely fantastic. And I personally appreciate that. I believe that it's our job to look at these line by line items, of which we've had over a month to do, and identifying things that maybe are blown up a little bit, and maybe really the reality of those line items aren't at that level. I understand we'll be looking at it again in September, but I personally will not be supporting this budget because I believe that you got to hit the irons when the irons are hot, and especially with two employee budgeted items in there, that there are no people. There is no plan for that, which is well over $60,000. So I yield. That's what I have to say. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilor Murphy.
Thank you, Council President. Just have 3 points to make. One is, I totally agree with my fellow councilors. We really need to wait to see what the local aid figures are when they come down, so we can actually make the decisions that need to be made. The other thing that we really, Councilor O'Malley touched upon it a little bit, but we do not know at the moment what it is going to take to bring our children back to school. Okay, in this environment we're faced with, what are the additional expenses that are going to take to educate our children? That is a huge issue. I spoke to a couple of principals and vice principals over the last week. They really have not had any definitive answers to how school is going to reopen in September. And I think that, when we get back together, that's going to be a huge issue that we're going to have to discuss with the superintendent as to how do we educate our children? Is school open? Is school, do we need more classrooms? Is schools going to be split up? Do we have to put, classrooms out in the fields so that we could have 10 children in a classroom? Are we doing virtual? What are the teachers going to be faced with? So that's an issue that I think to me is going to be key in how we move forward. And the other thing that I just want to say, amongst everything that we're talking about, what we need to realize as we move into this next budget is this is going to move not into 2021, but probably into 2022 and possibly into 2023. So as we look at what we're faced with in this next execution of the budget we're going to be looking at, we cannot use all of our resources in one fell swoop and leave ourselves in a gully for the next 2 years. So none of us have been faced, except for some of the other councilors who went through the last recession, have been faced with a crisis, a budget crisis, okay, that we are going to be faced with. So we all need to just kind of take a deep breath and make sure that we look at this not through partisan eyes, but for what's best for the city of Malden. So I'm going to support this budget knowing that we will move forward together as an 11 with the mayor to do the best by the city, which is what we've been elected to do. So on that, I am supporting this budget.
Thank you, Councilor Murphy. Councilor Crowe, did you raise your hand? Oh, it's back up. Okay, Councilor Crowe.
Thank you. I'm in support of this budget because I do think we're going to have to come back and look at this again in September. And, just as Councilor Murphy was talking about, and Councilor O'Malley had brought it up just about like the schools, is on the reentry task force, which is, it's been very difficult. So they're just working now on, is it a full blown will go back to school? Is it a hybrid? Is it online learning? And we're still waiting for the Department of Education to send us, what their protocols are going to be. And I'm going to tell you that even on a call that I had last Friday with the Department of Ed on other things, they had planned to have their guidance out by the 15th, the 15th. That didn't happen. they're going slow, and they're actually said that they don't think they'll have actually their final guidance out till the end of July, probably the beginning of August. Because one of the things they're going to be looking at is southern states roll out in July, they're coming to school. So they're going to be looking at what other states are doing and how it's working and what does work. So we are in a holding pattern. I think we can, and our role is we can only cut. We can't say that to put more back into the school. You can ask for that, but until we know what we need to do, I think this is the best budget that we can move forward with. We have to start thinking about those conversations, and as all of the other mandates around school or anything else around, cleaning and whatever else that we might need, we're gonna have to be taking a habit of that. And I do think that this goes to, the equity in education and figure out how we move equitably for all of our families. So I do think holding on to this budget, I'm in full support of this budget, and keeping an eye out for the next couple of months and how we actually do make those cuts, and with all the information that we don't have right now. Thank you, Madam President.
Thank you. Councilor O'Malley for the second time.
There have been we've mentioned a few times that this might be a budget just for the next 1 or 2 months. But we are passing the annual appropriation order. So if we don't change it, this is what stays. And so I'm familiar with the process when we are looking to take money from free cash and appropriate it. And I'm familiar with the transfer process, but what is the process when you cut a budget? Is that just the mayor saying to a department head, you can't spend that previously approved money? Or is that the controller saying, we're not going to be cutting a PO above a certain amount? Like, what does it look like when you cut a budget after it's already been approved? Like, can the city council initiate that? We've never experienced it before, so I just don't know what that process looks like. If maybe Ron or Chuck could explain.
Well, I'll chime in here, Counselor. To cut the budget after the adoption of it, to me, it sounds like it's a financial paper that would be initiated by the mayor and then approved by the city council. I could be mistaken in that. Much like yourself, I've never experienced that, but because it's a financial paper, I do think it would have to be initiated by the mayor. This is the council's one opportunity to cut without the approval of the mayor. That's my understanding of the process.
Thank you. I think it's good for us to know that, because and I'm not saying that the mayor won't make the hard decisions that need to be made, after we get the state numbers, but it's a kind of unknown territory for us. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else have any questions or?
My hand was up.
Oh, sorry, Councilor Condon, I didn't see it. Go ahead.
Thank you, Madam President. I'd like to thank, first of all, Councilor Kamel for the fine job he did as chairman on finance. As I said before, this is not the budget you will see in September when we get the money from the state and Governor Baker. Certainly is not going to be the same budget. We all expect to make the cuts. Unfortunately, Councilor Anderson and myself were here, I think it was in 88 or 89, when 250 employees packed the city council chambers, and angry people that many of them were losing their jobs, and it was not a place you would want to be. Hopefully that doesn't occur here. Anytime you do a budget, there's going to be things that you would like to see cut, things you would like to see added. I personally want to see Public Works get more equipment this year, as they haven't received much in the last couple of years. Unfortunately, that's not going to happen because, and the mayor's taking the right approach. He's waiting to see. He hasn't closed the door on everything, but he has to wait to see until we know what the revenue side of this budget is gonna look like. And, and if it doesn't work out, over the years, we've all had one or two items we didn't like about a budget. It's not enough to make me vote against a budget that I know is streamlined. The issue of overtime, you have to have some overtime money in there because you're headed into the July and August. We have contractual obligations. Firefighters, they're allowed, I think, 5 people off a week. Police, same thing. They're all contractual obligations, and you just need seed money for the overtime to cover those costs. But realistically, over the years, police and fire are going to be in excess of over 300,000, depending on the weather and the winter. DPW, same thing. We're lucky the last couple of years. Like I said, it's going to be a different budget in September. So we'll do what we have to do to fund a level funded budget. And I personally like the approach that the mayor and his team took on this budget. So I'm happy to support it. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else wish to speak? I don't see any. On Councilor Camel's motion, seconded by Councilor Condon, to pass the budget, the clerk will call the roll. Hold on, you're muted. I can't unmute you.
Anderson,
Anderson, yes.
Kamel,
Kamel, yes.
Condon,
Condon, yes.
Crow,
Yes.
Di Maria,
Hold on, Councilor Di Maria, you're mute. Go ahead.
No,
Di Maria,
no,
Lenahan,
Linehan, yes.
Murphy,
Murphy, yes.
O'Malley,
Yes.
Spatafora,
Spatafor, yes.
Winslow,
Winslow, yes.
Sika,
Speaker, yes.
passes 10-1.
Okay. Next order of business.
Docket is clear.
Sure. Councilor Crowe. Hold on, you're muted. Unmute yourself. Councilor Crowe.
I muted myself, I'm sorry. I actually would like to make a motion to suspend docket rules for the purpose of referring the mayor's appointment of Francis Lynn to the licensing board, to the Personnel and Appointments Committee. And, I don't know if we take that up first, so I explain it first. It came in after the docket was already settled, and this appointment, we have a meeting on Monday. And this appointment is to fulfill the space on the liquor board. And we know that they've had a problem in the last couple of weeks, which is why they're trying to hurry up and move this along now. With only 2 members on the liquor board, they've had to not have meetings. And as restaurants are trying to open up and do some changes to get extended seating. Sorry.
I'll second your motion.
We're seeing all those emails that they have in weekly meetings. So we want to move this to committee to actually meet with Ms. Lynn.
Seconded.
Can you repeat your motion one more time, Councilor Crowe?
Motion to suspend docket rules for the purposes of referring the mayor's appointment of Francis Lynn to the licensing board, to the Appointments and Personnel Committee.
Okay, thank you. On Councilor Crowe's motion, seconded by Councilor O'Malley, to refer the paper to committee.
Suspend.
Docket rules.
Suspend docket rules to refer the matter to committee. The clerk will call the roll.
Anderson,
Anderson, yes.
Kamel,
No, yes.
Condon,
Condon, yes.
Crow,
Yes.
Di Maria,
yes,
Linehan,
Linehan, yes.
Murphy,
Murphy, yes.
O'Malley,
Yes.
Spatafora,
Spatafor, yes.
Winslow,
Winslow, yes.
Sika,
Speaker, yes.
carries 11-0.
So now I make a motion to refer to personnel and appointments.
Seconded.
On Counselor Crow's motion to refer the matter to appointments, seconded by Counselor O'Malley. The clerk will call the roll.
Anderson,
Anderson, yes.
Kamel,
No, yes.
Condon,
Condon, yes.
Crow,
Yes.
Di Maria,
yes,
Linehan,
Linehan, yes.
Murphy,
Murphy, yes.
O'Malley,
Yes.
Spatafora,
Metaphor, yes.
Winslow,
Winslow, yes.
Sika.
Sika, yes.
Council President Sika, that carries 11-0. What we should have done before the budget was voted on. There's a council rule 42.02 that should have been suspended. It's no less than 14 days prior to adoption of the annual budget. The city council shall hold a public hearing on the proposed expenditures and provide residents with an opportunity to express objections to or support a specific expenditure, which would have been the budget. So because the hearing was held last week, that council rule 42.02 should have been suspended.
Okay, do we have, we need to have a motion.
I move to suspend that rule.
Okay.
Second,
On Counselor Kamel's motion to suspend Rule 42.02,
02, correct.
seconded by Counselor Condon, the clerk will call the roll.
Anderson,
Anderson, yes.
Kamel,
No, yes.
Condon,
Condon, yes.
Crow,
Yes.
Di Maria,
yes,
Linehan,
Linehan, yes.
Murphy,
Murphy, yes.
O'Malley,
No.
Spatafora,
Yes.
Winslow,
Winslow, yes.
Sika.
Sika, yes.
And if we could just do we vote on the budget, if that would be,
Great, thank you. Counselor O'Malley, did you have your hand up?
Not about this. No, it's fine. You can ignore it until we're done.
Okay, great.
I do want to make one point. Clerk Lucy did inform me about that. That is completely my oversight. I just want to make sure that folks know that was my bad, not Greg's. So, my apologies.
Great, thank you. Next order of business.
like to re-vote on the budget. That was paper 132-20, the appropriation for the budget.
Yep. On Counselor Kamel's motion, seconded by Counselor Condon to approve the budget, the clerk will call the roll.
Anderson,
Anderson, yes.
Kamel,
Well, yes.
Condon,
Condon, yes.
Crow,
Yes.
Di Maria,
no,
Linehan,
Linehan, yes.
Murphy,
Murphy, yes.
O'Malley,
Yes.
Spatafora,
Spatafora, yes.
Winslow,
Winslow, yes.
Sika.
Sika, yes.
Carries 10, same vote, 10-1.
Next order of business.
The docket is clear.
Counselor O'Malley.
Thank you. I just want to do a brief personal privilege, just for everyone who's interested. Immediately following this, we're going to have a community forestry plan advisory committee. We were lucky to get a state grant to do a citywide street tree inventory. So over the next however long, we'll be eventually doing a inventory of every street tree in the city, which will help us prioritize where to plant trees going in the future. And this could help prepare us for a larger grant called Greening the Gateway City Grant, where the DCR and the state will actually plant trees for us on both public and private property, and to help increase our tree canopy, making our city more livable. In addition to that, I just wanted to let the community know, next week, I will be proposing a resolution to get support to have on-street dining on Pleasant Street. One of the things that a lot of the businesses in the square have said is that they're having a really difficult time with the current social distancing guidelines to actually stay afloat. We've actually had some restaurants close, unfortunately, and we want to make sure that we keep the carnage as minimal as possible. So finding a way to safely have dining and parking spots outside Hugh O'Neill's, Mystic Station, etc., Exchange Street Bistro if possible. We really want to make sure that we don't lose the dining in the square. So if you're interested in that, please tune in next week. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else for personal privilege? Nobody else for personal privilege? So on behalf of the chair, I just want to talk about the 4th of July. Just to give everybody a heads up, it's just about 2 weeks away. I just want to remind everybody that this year we are foregoing our annual 4th of July celebrations at all of the ward parks this year due to the distancing guidelines and social gatherings. We are unable to have those events at the park. Hopefully, I know Ward 8 anyway, hopefully if we get back in the fall, then I might try to do something then. I don't know what others are thinking about doing, but I just wanted to make sure that everybody, watching knows that the 4th of July, unfortunately, will not be happening in the city of Malden for, I think, the first time in forever that I remember. It will be my first year not going to Linden Park in 42 years. So it's going to be a different kind of 4th of July this year. So I just want to make sure everyone is aware there is no 4th of July celebrations for this year. Councilor Murphy, did you put it down?
No, actually, no. I don't know when this is going to happen, but just following along with that, the 6th annual Fairy House Festival should have happened or should be happening on the 29th of August, which is the week before the Labor Day weekend, which is when we always do the Fairy House Festival. And unfortunately, I have been informed that we will not be able to hold that celebration either. I'm looking at trying to hold it maybe later in the date, sometime after September 15th, if that works out. I do need to work with Pine Banks Park to see if that's a possibility. But once again, we will hopefully try to do something in the fall. I can't promise it. But the Fairy House Festival also this summer at least is canceled, but perhaps we will be able to hold it in the fall, which I will announce through all the social media that is available if we actually are able to do it. So thank you.
Great, thank you. Councilor Linehan.
Thank you, Madam President. I guess I just wanted to say, like, as a new counselor, it's obviously very disappointing and sad to not be able to host the 4th of July, but I did just want to thank you for, officially getting the word out. I think it's unfortunately is the right move to make this year. And I actually was wondering about the Fairy House Festival too. My daughter has been using our time in quarantine to build a really intricate entry for this year's festival. So we'll just hold it for next time. And, it's a great event. All these events are, I think, what make Malden so special. And even if we can't do it this year, it's partly community building to be, supporting public health and just aiming towards getting everybody better and doing the social distancing that we have to do. But thank you for your leadership and just making that announcement and making that call. I think it's the right thing to do, sadly.
Thank you. Anyone else wish to speak for personal privilege? Do we have a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn by Councilor Condon. The clerk will call the roll.
Anderson,
Anderson, yes.
Kamel,
Oh, yes.
Condon,
Condon, yes.
Crow,
Yes.
Di Maria,
Yes.
Linehan,
Linehan, yes.
Murphy,
Murphy, yes.
O'Malley,
Yes.
Spatafora,
Metaphor, yes.
Winslow,
Winslow, yes.
Sika.
Sika, yes.
Meeting is adjourned.